Listen, they should just make a computer that works.
I agree. Oh, yeah. It's a Thursday afternoon when we're recording this. And you know what that means, folks. It's time for the VGB's podcast. This is episode 37.
Pew, 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 pew.
Pew, 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 pew. The age I was when I pooped for the first time.
Wow, that's
I
horrible.
know, wild. It's so
That's
wild.
horrible. I'm really
I
sorry
know.
for you.
I
You
know.
must have been very sick.
I was so sick, so backed up. Oh, terrible. Hi, Niki. Hey, I'm John Warren. I'm one of your hosts. With me is my forever co-host, Niki Grayson. Fresh off of like a solid 2 hours of podcasting right before this too. So I'm sure your energy levels are like.
Well, yeah, what did I do
primo.
today? I did social for
Great.
Game Mess.
Okay.
And then I had 35 minutes in between. And then we did an Avowed quick look for 2 hours. And then I had 35 minutes. And then I did Dump Truck. And now I'm here.
Well, I'm really glad you're here. And
Happy to be-
hopefully this
I'm actually not feeling bad.
Yes, actually, I should have. I was about to actually stipulate. You seem good.
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
That's great. That's amazing. I would not be.
Have there been days when I've done less and felt worse? Yes.
Yeah, but that's so normal.
I'm feeling fine right now.
That's so normal.
I do think I'm gonna get water.
Okay, get water, and I'll
didn't
fam.
Intro the.
That's okay. I'll intro the podcast.
Tell the people what we do here, just in case it's their first one or they're
Sure, it might be
listening
the
to them
first one.
backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, so Niki and I are on another podcast, and we just found out that one of our listeners is actually working through the If You're Driving, Close Your Eyes comedy podcast backlog in reverse, which seems particularly insane to us, but like in a fun way. I run VGBs. Hi, I'm John. We have a website, and you go to VGBs.com, and we post articles there and blogs and things. But we also have this podcast. We also have something called the Hive, which you can join by going to VGBs.com/join, and you can join it for free. You can also join our Discord, discord.gg/VGBs. But you can also pay us $10 a month, which we love. Num 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 money. And we use that to, one, pay ourselves for this labor, and also to make bonus podcasts as well, which are only available for those Hive members. And this is a video games podcast, ostensibly. And I say that because I'm going to start with some cleanup on the basketball podcast that we had a few, I don't know, week and a half ago. We did talk about the Luka Doncic trade, Luka going to the Los Angeles Lakers, and I was still kind of writing this like intellectual stream of like, this bad thing just happened to me, but I'm going to use my brain to kind of like, turn it into something that, feels right, feels like, okay, you know what, I can kind of see the vision here. And that was before I watched Luka Doncic start for the Los Angeles Lakers on Monday night with Dirk Nowitzki in the audience cheering him on, and the entire city of Los Angeles being like, I can't fucking believe we have this guy Luka Doncic now. Like, the entire city of Los Angeles going like, well, how did we get away with this?
And we got away with what? And
it's so good for the Lakers to finally have a superstar.
And listen, like I said on the pod, it's been a long 5 years since we last hoisted that Vince Lombardi Mario Big Man trophy. What is it called?
Is it the Naismith Trophy?
No.
Why don't I know what the name of the?
What is it called?
What is it called?
Wait, nope,
NBA?
nope. Can't look it up.
Okay, wait. Is it called the? I was gonna say the Commissioner's Cup, which is there's no way that's true. It's not a cup, nor would the commissioner be.
What is it called? They just redesigned it. What is it called?
The Jerry West basketball.
The Jerry West basketball.
The Jerry West
basketball. Congrats! You won the NBA Finals, and now to present the Jerry West basketball is Adam Silver. All right, fine. We're looking it up. What is the NBA trophy called?
Is it not called the Naismith?
Larry O'Brien.
Larry O'Brien. Jesus, that's so funny. There was a rumor that they were thinking about changing the Lombardi Trophy to the Brady Trophy because nobody fucking remembers who Vince Lombardi is anymore, and I think it's even worse for Larry O'Brien. Like no one knows who Larry O'Brien is.
Not in a million years.
Which is very funny to me. Yeah, thank God y'all got away with one. You know, you finally got a superstar in Los Angeles.
We finally got a superstar in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And did we lose to the Jazz?
You did lose to the Jazz a couple days later. Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, that
was strange. And like whatever. Luka had like 5 fouls and like didn't play that well.
Yeah, no. Which is fine.
You know what? You'll get a few of those. You're gonna watch Luka and be like, what's going on with him? And then there'll be like, 10 games in a row where he's like one of the best players who's ever walked the face of the earth, and you're like,
that's okay. I'll take it. I think the thing, he looks awful in that uniform.
Oh, that shade of white
really looks awful in it.
If the buses were smart.
Mm-hmm. I know where you're going, and I agree.
They would do a partnership with fucking, I don't know, Tans.
I don't know where you're going. This is not where I thought you were going.
Tans are us, and you just give Luka you give him a tanning bed for his home.
Yeah.
You also say you can walk into any of these 1,000 local locations, and you can just toast yourself up like right away.
And he comes out looking like me for the finals.
Luka in what appears to be blackface taking the court at Crypto, game 1 of the Western Conference Finals.
That's fucking funny. Yeah, he looks really bad. And I actually think, I think there's a lot of things happening with it specifically.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers yellow looks the best at Staples.
Yes.
But it looks bad still. To be very clear, it looks bad. But it looks the best at Staples because they spent money on the lights.
It used to be kind of this like mustardy gold too.
And it used to be purple and gold was the whole thing.
Yeah, and now it's kind of like a neon yellow.
Yeah, it's banana shit piss yellow.
Yeah. And you're right. The lights there make it look okay.
Yes. Whenever they go anywhere else, especially the central, like the middle of the country teams, they have the cheapest, most and I don't.
I know you're not
mean
wrong.
That. Yeah. Like I actually Utah has some of the worst lights in the league.
Indiana.
Phoenix, awful. Indiana, holy shit! Watching a game in Indiana is awful.
Awful.
It's just like not considered. Sorry, and it's not even because it's like hard to do. They could just go get the lights the Lakers have.
Yeah,
it's not hard.
Yeah,
but they just are like, well, we got to get stadium lights, and they have to be the worst color you've ever seen. So it's just the brightest white, and they looked fucking terrible yesterday. And Luka with the fucking white t-shirt underneath.
It's bad.
Horrible.
It's bad.
Horrible.
It's bad. And he is the color of like, you're walking the beach and you step on something and you pick it up and it's just kind of this like, it looks like snot from the sea. That's kind of what Luka's color is when you kind of look at it closely. It's kind of translucent white. Yeah. And it just doesn't look good with that yellow. He looks bad in those uniforms for sure.
What I thought you were going to say. Oh yeah.
The other thing real quick. and I hate to say this because it's really buying into Patrick Dumont, this fucking loser of an idiot that owns the Mavericks. His fucking explanation of Luka. Luka looks out of shape in those Laker
Yes,
uniforms.
sure.
Because the Mavs have like darker uniforms, and also the white ones have this dumbass cummerbund
Yes.
on the back that I
Yes.
think has kind of made him just seem kind of like stocky and not
Snatched,
like,
yes.
oh, you're kind, yeah, you look like, you don't look like me, Luka, but you look more like just some guy in the gym
Yeah.
on like a random pickup day, like, which
Yes.
is very funny because he's the best player in the world. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so where did you think I was going with that?
I thought you were going to say that they were going to change the colors next year.
No way. There's no way.
Here's what I actually think.
Okay.
I think when LeBron retires,
Ooh,
because
they might do
they're
a
Nike
reset?
kits, right?
Yeah.
I think they're gonna do a reset. I don't think LeBron's ever gonna wear a Jordan branded a Jumpman jersey because there's like
Right.
there's the Nike swoosh jerseys. They're the same. There's the
Right.
swoosh jerseys and then there's the Jumpman jerseys, and it kind of is just like up to the. I'm sure it's actually up to the league to determine up to the league and Nike to determine who gets what.
Right.
But Luka is a Jordan athlete.
Yes.
I think that when LeBron retires, they will actually do a brand refresh, bring the colors back to normal, and then put the Jumpman on the logos, or the Jumpman logo on the jerseys. And it won't be the swoosh.
Because they have been this version
Since
of the modern
19.
kind of Showtime Lakers, the Lake Show,
Uh-huh.
since like 96.
Oh, what do you mean?
Like this exact yellow.
Oh,
And-
no. This shade of yellow is Nike, like the Nike jersey swap.
It was
Because,
that
like-
different. It was that different
Mhm.
before.
Oh yeah, if you go back and look at like the
Kobe.
Adidas, yeah, like Kobe winning in 2010, those are completely different colors. Like it is there's so much more brown,
Oh wow,
and
you're right.
it's like
No,
so
you're
rich.
totally right. Yeah,
And
it's
not until when the league switched over to Nike, and remember when the jerseys were tearing that first
Yes.
year?
Yes.
Like and someone would like reach and like literally do a reach and foul. They would grab the jersey and the jersey would rip. Like that first
Right.
year, that was when
Mhm.
the colors all switched and got bad.
Yeah, no,
Um,
you're 100% right. Lakers, Nike. Oh yeah, fuck this. Yeah. These are awful. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I had not really realized how recent this change was.
Yeah, it's really recent. But because there are so many fucking basketball games every year, it just becomes normal really fast.
Yeah.
There was like the thing about like the color rush era, and we gotta stop. People are gonna get
I know
mad.
I know. It's
The
so
thing-
funny that you're like, introduce the show, and I'm like, what if we just alienated everyone right away?
The thing about like, remember that first year of the color rush in the NFL?
Right.
The
yeah.
reason that was so garish, it was because it was one off and you had to look at it. The
Right.
thing about like the NBA jerseys being as whack as they are, they become normal and regular pretty quickly. By the time the All-Star break rolled
Right.
around, it was like, well, I guess this is just what they look like. And then that was 6 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
So
Bad scene. Anyway, the Mavs are also bad. They basically have no one at center, and no.
did
one's gonna
anything
be able
happen to
play at
Anthony
center.
Davis?
Yeah, he got injured, and so did Daniel Gafford,
Ah.
and so did PJ Washington, and so did
Kind of like
Eric
back to back
Lively.
to back.
Back to back. So like we played, you know what? We did play small ball against the Golden State Warriors and did win that game.
It worked.
We were down 5 different players and we still beat the Warriors, which Steph and Jimmy Butler should feel pretty bad about that, I think.
Yeah, they did throw that one away. Steph Curry missed a free throw yesterday. We got to start a basketball podcast.
we have
Steph
to
Curry
stop.
threw away
Yeah, we have to.
had the one of the worst free throw misses I've ever seen him.
Yeah, weird.
Like it was crazy actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway,
Do you
sorry.
Think, do you think he like farted or something like right?
So,
like,
or
he's
someone
like,
did
"What?"
around him,
Right. Yeah.
or something, or someone like said something, like someone yelled something.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah,
Kind of yelping at him. Steph.
Aisha's not
even
hot. And then Anthony missed.
I would miss a free throw if someone said
Yeah.
that to me. All right, let's start a real video game podcast. How about that?
Okay.
We have a lot going on, actually, but let's start with a game that you actually went to go play at an event in Los Angeles, and it
It's
is
true.
the follow-up to It Takes Two. It's Split
Split
Fiction.
Fiction from your friends. Look at this, John.
Split Fiction, is that a hard drive that they gave you?
They just gave me this, and they gave
Oh, I know.
everyone this.
Oh, I know, it's weird. But that happened at Summer Game Fest, like Amazon or something handed me like a
Yeah,
100 GB SD.
this is a terabyte SSD.
Wow, that's really nice.
Huh?
That's really nice.
What do you
That's
mean?
really
And then
cool.
everyone got one. Whatever. Yeah, the folks over at Hazelight are making another one of these. I think I need to preface the conversation we're about to have very heavily. I think it might at some point sound as if that I do not like this video game. But that is not the case.
Right.
I don't think that there is anything new in this one that is not in It Takes Two. It feels so deeply like a sequel to It Takes Two, where they were like, okay, we came up with a bunch of ideas, couldn't fit all of them in this one, and we made a lot of money off of It Takes Two, and a lot of people liked it, and EA gave us way more budget, so it looks much more expensive.
It looks expensive, yes.
It looks way more expensive. The variety of things that you are doing and the ability, I think, for the game to actually feel good in those moments of variety, because you're not playing with these ideas for very long, but they do need to still feel good, and they still feel really good. It just isn't it's not revolutionary. It's another one of these. So if you are expecting kind of something different, it isn't that. It just like go into it being like,
would you even say it's iterative, or like is it not even iterative?
No, it's not even iterative. It just looks better. It's another one. And like, I guess maybe it is iterative because it's like, no, it's just different.
I mean, it's okay. That's okay.
And we had 3 hours of gameplay, which is like a pretty good chunk, and it was kind of paced in a frankly unbelievable way. You would get like 15 minutes, and then they would show you this hard black screen that was like, all right, awesome, you get that, cool, now we're gonna skip you to this zone where this is happening, and then you would skip to that zone, and then you would do that zone. They would be like, okay, wasn't that cool, now you're gonna do a different zone in the fantasy part, because the game is, and I can talk about it, the game is, you're these two writers, the names of whom I've forgotten. It's not really that important. It simply isn't. These two writers, they sign up to get published, their stories published. They end up going into this office.
It's Zoe and Mio.
Like I said, they go into this office by this guy that kind of looks like Andrew Wilson adjacent, which I think is funny.
That is funny.
They go in there, and then they're like, oh, I want to get my book published. And they're like, yeah, for sure. But you do have to put this big suit on and get in this computer bubble. And then one of the characters is like,
what?
No, dog. I came here to get my book published. If that's not happening, I'm leaving. And they're like, sorry, you can't leave. So then she tries to push her way out, and she falls into the bubble of this girly who was in the elevator with her. They don't like each other. Can you believe it? And then the journey is that they're going to grow closer to like each other and become best friends by the end of the journey. So the girly who wanted to leave is a sci-fi writer, and then the girly that was initially fine with it is a fantasy writer. And the early reveal is that it turns out that they are sucking, when you're in the big bubble, you sell them one book, right? But they're taking all of your other ideas. And then the levels that you're playing through are other stories within these two people have come up with that either may have been written down or may have not, and that's kind of the thing. Cool conceit.
Yeah, it's a little bit Psychonauts, but yeah.
Yes. There's a lot. Jan and I played there's like a futuristic pinball situation where one person is controlling the paddles of the pinball, and it's side scroller platform format, and then I was the ball. So I was like having to move through these spaces and jump up and down while Jan was opening and closing gates that were just pinball paddles. And then there were some stages where it was just like, this is a pinball table. and I had to like move, and like I had aftertouch and could move my way and progress my way through the table that way. There was this really cool stage we played where, also in the future zone, where Jan had this sword that he could use to like.
Oh, looks like we might have lost.
It would send him.
Wait,
Oh,
can you
hello?
start that thought over? Because
Yeah,
you
for
froze
sure.
For a second. Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Jan and I played this thing, or this section where Jan had this really cool gravity sword where he would put the sword down and it would change the gravity, and he would be able to run on walls and like do simultaneous platforming, myself and Jan. And then I had this like gravity whip, so I would be grabbing people and boxes and then like throwing them into stuff, and then Jan would be cutting people up. And then there's to the point where I'm like, I kind of don't want to spoil it, but there's a really whatever, you'll forget. The game comes out next month, you're not going to remember. There's a part where you're on a motorcycle. You're not. There's a part where you're on a motorcycle and you have to stop the motorcycle from blowing up. So you get on the motorcycle, because the motorcycle is like, you're not the guy who's driving the motorcycle before, I'm going to explode. So you grab the phone of the guy who was on the motorcycle, and then it's like, okay, log in to the phone to do it. So then me on the right stick, I'm like, the phone starts at an angle like this, and I have to turn it so I can do Face ID on the phone while Jan is driving the motorcycle. I'm on the right side of the screen moving to do Face ID, and I do Face ID, and then they literally make me do a CAPTCHA. They're like, select all of the motorcycles in this image, and then I have to, with the fucking cursor, go motorcycle, and they're like, you didn't pass it. Here's another one, and then it was like, click all the buses. It's like bus. And then there's like a terms and conditions that you have to scroll through and accept and scroll through and accept. It's really funny. There are little bits of comedy like that, and then there's also like, in the same way as It Takes Two, I think there's stuff that is not really my bag, where it feels forced, but I think people are going to be like, wow, how funny.
Yeah,
your mileage on that may vary, but it, in a way that I need to be so clear, is not me deriding the game. It is another one of these. If you liked the last one, you will like this one. And you might like it even more because it isn't about divorce and kind of being mean to your child.
It's pretty weird. Yeah.
So
It Takes Two always seemed like, and I mean, obviously the game director has, made a name.
Joseph Ferris was looking fly as hell, by the way.
I bet he's made a name for himself at the Game Awards by showing up and cursing and being just kind of a wily European man. And it always struck me as odd that this guy made It Takes Two, because it's like there's more adult stuff in this guy that wants to come out, and I think making a very adult story about divorce, but kind of coded with this kind of childlike energy, and it's like aimed at a child within the game.
Yeah,
never felt like a fit to me. So when I saw that he was making a game about two adults who get into trouble, I'm like, this makes more sense to me.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, there's no artifice about, they're not having to do anything about it. Like, it is it's just a story in a video game. There was one level we were playing where we were two dragons. I will say some of the, and this was also an issue with It Takes Two, because they have to figure out what abilities, the experience has to be different for both people. So sometimes it does feel like one of the players gets the short end of the stick, and obviously you don't know what it's kind of different who gets the short end of that stick. There was this one bit where Jan and I were these two dragons, and we were trying to do like very basic rudimentary, like move a ball to a place, hit the ball explode, progress a wall. Except only in the scene prior to the gameplay, the dragons were flying. When we got into the gameplay, I couldn't fly. My dragon didn't fly, and it actually just rolled everywhere. And I was like, well, what the fuck is this for? Why are we even dragons if I can't fly? But Jan can fly, but I couldn't fly. And I was like, it felt like it was it felt arbitrary. The decision there, and it was the first time I was like, I wish I was fucking playing as Jan's guy.
Yeah.
because I was like,
Yeah.
and that like made me feel
That's
kind of
hard.
annoyed.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
hard because if you're making this game, then it's just like, okay, you two are going to have a complementary experience that then naturally has to be fairly balanced across a long
Yes.
playtime to be as interesting as each other, essentially.
Yeah.
And you never want to go, you never want to start, you never want to have a game that's like, okay, here's this part where I'm bored for 5 minutes and you're not. Like
Yeah.
that's hard.
It's tough.
You're making two games. Essentially.
Yes, like fundamentally, you are making yes, you are making two games, which is hard, right?
It's hard.
Like I understand, and I think there are. I'm sure there were parts where I was doing stuff that Jan wanted to be doing, like that. I think that's just
like you might have wanted to
throughout,
slice and dice with the sword, but it's also the conversation of like these games. It Takes Two is kind of the same way. It's like I know people who played that game multiple times, and I think that's like. I guess that's kind of it. Okay, now I'm going to be this person.
Now I'm going to swap and do the other side.
Right.
That is not, I think, how I would ever approach
not for
one
me.
Of these. Yeah. Right. But I also understand it is two video games, right? Like you could play it with other people and have a different experience as long as you maybe aren't doing the same side of the coin that you were doing before. The game comes out. They announced the release date yesterday at the Sony State of Play. It's March something. I want to say it's the 7th. It might be the 13th or the 7th. If only someone knew. They didn't say.
March
you know
6th.
what?
It's
March 6th. Yeah. I was close with the first one.
You were close. You were.
So it comes out next month.
No,
I mean, like next month. It's in 2.5 weeks. Yeah. I'm amped to play it. Like legitimately excited to play it. It ran well. We were playing on PC. And nice. I don't know if people give a shit about that, but it ran okay. And the voice acting was good. There's only 2 guys in it. There's just 2 people in it, so it's like those are the conversations that you're kind of hearing. And it's one of those things, right, where it's like the narrative of it doesn't really matter. It is mostly about the little chapters that you're playing inside of it. So I'm excited because the overarching narrative is like, obviously they're going to get out. Obviously they're going to reveal the man to be bad. Like I didn't play this far, but like obviously these things are going to happen. So the interesting part is the in between.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's going to be some stuff about family and like understanding like support for creation.
Sure.
And what that is like. That seems to be the undercurrent. So it'll be good. Like I said, I really liked It Takes Two, and I think I will like this one more on account of the fact that it is not about divorce and being mean to a child.
Which I think is fair. Yeah, it looks good. It really does feel like you said, they just took all that EA money and we're like, okay, well, we'll make it look good.
Dude,
but,
like they really did. Joseph really, really, really did like get that Game of the Year award. Walk into the office the next day and was like, okay, so the budget is 3 times as much as it was on the last one. And they said, okay.
And
they gave it to him, which is like, I mean, if you win Game of the Year, I think you should be able to do that.
Call your shot. We were talking briefly over text about this game and in the studio and all that stuff, and it is interesting that not more studios are consciously making games that are exactly like this. They're for 2 people.
And Joseph, I really don't want to miss a tribute, so I'm going to give like a broad overarching just
wide,
of what he
wide
was saying.
Berth to this
thought. Super wide berth, because he was talking to Lucy and Tam at GameSpot about that exact topic, and he was like, it seems like it would not actually be very difficult for studios to make more games like this and start making money, because and now to extrapolate off of that, this game, is probably X times number more expensive than It Takes Two, but nowhere near as expensive as like any other AAA video game, right?
Yeah.
And it's a smaller games, like a smaller games, more variety conversation. It's like smaller games, less money, more variety conversation. It's the same thing. It's like if Ubisoft, instead of doing whatever the fuck they're doing, spending $600 million on an Assassin's Creed game that 7 people are going to play, split that up and made a bunch of smaller games, probably they would be in a better spot.
Probably, yeah.
More than 7 people are going to play this Assassin's Creed game. I think a lot of people actually are going to buy this Assassin's Creed game.
It's going to be pretty popular.
I do think they're pretty popular, and I actually do think this one is going to be big. I think actually people are going to, because there are normal people in my life right now who have asked me, hey, do you know when the new Assassin's Creed is coming out?
It broke
Which means to me that like people are going to kind of show up for this one.
It broke containment. One of the most annoying wrestlers in the world has an Assassin's Creed tattoo. He's like, "Oi, bruv, I'm an assassin. Oi, bruv." So it's like, yeah, it broke containment. Yeah, I think there's probably the saturation point for games that are exactly like this is actually probably pretty low. Like I don't think it would take.
Yeah, there's probably
I don't think
one or two more of these.
Yeah, I don't think a market could be flooded by these. But it is interesting that's like, it's a compelling game. Couples, families, friends who like to play games with each other, they tend to really like them and evangelize for them. So it's like, it is odd to me that more studios aren't trying it, you know?
And so deeply, it is not even like, it's recent history where you could sit 2 people down at a video game machine and both people have a good time. I was trying to play a game with someone recently, and I was looking at my libraries, and I was like, I don't fucking like Mario Kart. We could play Super Mario Wonder, I guess, and that's what we ended up doing, and we had a good time. But I was like, it does kind of fucking suck that like it never feels considered as the primary way to play. Which I think is what Joseph is really trying to get at. It's like the primary focus is not what if I played a game with another person in the same space. Right. It is what if I played a game by myself, and then what if I played a game by myself with other people.
Yeah, right.
Which is different than play a game with another person.
Yeah.
So I think it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. But yeah, not long until that's out. So yeah, the weird thing about this year so far is that there's so many games that, like, Avowed is another one we can talk about in a second. Mm-hmm. There's so many games that I'm like, yeah, Avowed and Split Fiction and all this other stuff. Yeah, that's coming out this year. And then I'm like, oh wait, it's coming out like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I did not
4 days. You know, like it's stuff that I'm like, wow, this stuff is sneaking up on me fast. So Avowed is the review embargo drop for that. Neither Niki nor I have played the review build of that game.
It's out though. You can go play right now. If you give them $20, you can you're gonna make me fucking do it. Through the power of Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass. If you give Microsoft an additional $20.
So if you are listening to the show the first time, Niki really is our evangelist here. That's just like
fuck Michael Hyam. Michael Hyam for some reason is on Unlocked. And all I'm saying is that guy doesn't know shit about Game Pass. Get me in there.
Niki's just one of those people is like keep showing up spaces because like, listen, if you're not invested in Game Pass, you're missing out on the best deal in gaming. So is it one of those things? Can I go get it for $20? I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to. Do that.
I didn't either.
How dumb do I feel? Because I could have probably done that.
Well, you can. I just did. It's It's like $22 and some change. Because I think it's supposed to be 25, but you save 10%, so it's like $22. And it comes
really
with
polarizing. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I no, I just think that it comes with the DLC and then 5 days early access because the game comes out on the 18th.
18th.
But means you can play it today, which means that the game came out today.
Okay. Which I'm gonna play after this.
Polarizing, but I don't know if I respect the people who are saying that the game isn't good because I watched Jeff Grubb play it for 2 hours today, and I'm like, this kind of seems fucking banger. Like I don't.
Yeah, it's so
understand.
The camps seem to be in there's some satellite camps, but the camps seem to be the writing's okay, the story's not super deep. Some of the pitfalls of the Outer Worlds, but that kind of beckons you into like a sense that this might be a grander tale than it actually is. That might kind of bristle with you, and it definitely bristled with me when I played Outer Worlds, but not as much as the fucking tone of the Outer Worlds, which Avowed does not have.
No.
And then there are two gameplay camps. One is, and I am actually sorry to distill it to this because it does seem dismissive.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
I
listen.
I actually do mean like if you see someone that says that they didn't like it for these reasons, like don't harass anyone for any fucking reason. But it's like do not be like don't complain, okay?
Yeah.
But there does seem to be a camp that's like this game's too hard, and there's another camp that's like actually this game creates friction for you in ways that like a lot of games don't, and it's really
Yes.
interesting because you need to be on your toes,
Yeah, you actually have to engage with it.
which
Oh no.
sounds good to me.
Yes, that sounds awesome to me.
Yeah. I think I want to say this. I think first person action role playing games have lulled people into a sense um of just total like, well, it's my job to basically get so over leveled that like nothing is hard. Like
Yes.
Skyrim is a game that you can break pretty fast,
Mm-hmm.
and also none of it feels particularly good.
Yeah.
So it's if it's not the focus for people, like I don't play Skyrim to go like, man, this combat's great.
Right.
I play it to disappear into a world, and Avowed actually takes, it sounds like, different styles of combat and different enemy types and all this stuff, and really like it's not lip service. I feel like a lot of games are like this kind of enemy type is blah blah blah, and then it's like you're gonna fucking bullet sponge all these idiots
Yes.
the same way. Avowed is apparently not like that.
No,
It
it
is a
does not.
game, yeah.
From watching Grub play it earlier, they're like he had to approach different guys different ways because
Yep.
they were coming at him differently, and he
Yep.
also had what it felt like a million and one ways to approach it.
Which
It's
is
got
cool.
guns, magic, and sword and shield stuff, right?
Yep.
So there are so many kinds of ways, and it looks like again, I haven't played it yet. I just downloaded it right now. But it seems like there's such variety and actual heft to the combat that it seems like it is going to be rewarding regardless of what path you go down. And also the game is going to make you pick other paths. I don't think you're going to be able to move the entirety of the way through this game on one like leg of combat like you can in Skyrim. You can make a decision in Skyrim really early to be like, I'm going to
And
stand
stick with it.
really far back. I'm going to crouch. I'm going to get that sneak like
Yep.
bow and arrow multiplier, and I'm just going to snipe people. And that's how I'm going to play the whole fucking game. I don't
Yep.
think you're going to be able to do this game that way.
Yeah.
I like it when a game makes you engage with systems. That's the whole fucking point.
I do too, because the thing that, and it's like games like Avowed seem to be designed to save me from myself, because if I go into Skyrim, I do not make that game interesting for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I make it a thing where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be an archer that's going to headshot everyone from the shadows. And that's going to feel really kind of fun and cool for about 2 hours
Yes.
out of the 100 hours I'm expected to spend with this game.
Yeah.
So Avowed it is a truncated experience. It's a little bit like Outer Worlds, but the combat apparently is very, 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 very crunchy and fun.
Yeah. From what I think, what I was saying earlier on the quick look is that the reason I bounced off of Outer Worlds, well, other than the writing, which was kind of like was fine for me in the beginning, but then became kind of grating.
It got, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But every single place that you went, was never as interesting as the first place that they put you.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like you left that first place, and then it was kind of like, oh boy.
Oof. Yeah. Right.
And then it always felt like the way I described it is it always felt like the ceiling was really low in all of the spaces. Like not like obviously literally, but it felt diorama-y and congested and miniaturized in a way that like did not feel very good. It doesn't seem like this is that.
I think Outer Worlds is frustrating because like I saw a bigger, more interesting game if they just made a fucking isometric CRPG, like fucking Baldur's Gate 3 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Not that making Baldur's Gate 3 is so simple. I just mean,
yeah. John says it's an easy game to have made. Didn't require any effort.
Famously, Larry and
it's just clickums.
They cranked that out in about a year. It was fine. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying that game felt like it wanted to be something different. And I honestly, that criticism pisses me off when I hear other people say it. But it was just a perfect storm of like, oh, the people who made Fallout New Vegas are making a satirical
Yeah.
space first-person shooter RPG. Like, wow, we have a lot of expectations. It's like, well, not only are your expectations wrong, but like they're wrong in ways that you wouldn't even anticipate.
Yeah.
And in like bless them for making a thing that they wanted to make, and they're gonna make another one.
And that's the thing that I think is so interesting now, right? Because it seems
Right.
like in between those two video games, Outer Worlds and Avowed, seems like they learned quite a bit.
Learned a lot.
So if
Outer Worlds 2 might be rad.
I'm kind of thinking and feeling that like if that first one was kind of like, can we make one of these?
Right. Yeah.
Competently, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Like it's not a
Yeah.
great video game, but it's a competently made video game.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
They started to try shit with this one, with Avowed, and maybe by the time they get around to Outer Worlds 2, it will kind of feel maybe closer to the thing that people were hoping that the first Outer Worlds was going to be.
Yeah. But yeah, polarizing. Some people are saying this is one of the best games they played in the past, a couple of years, which is really interesting to me. So, yeah, Jeff Grubb liked it. I'll give some space for the detractors. I did distill it into like, well, I think it's too hard. The criticisms that I read from like Jay Costello, who's written for us before, is that the way to get the resources you need to get to make your battles feel fun and also winnable, that part is apparently a slog. Okay, now the that just may your mileage may vary on that argument. It may not feel like a slog to you. So
it's also, Jeff mentioned this, the enemies don't respawn when you kill them, so you get like the economy of acquisition of materials is kind of fucked at a certain point. So if you misspent, like, I think the thing that people are saying is that it is possible, which is like, again, the conversation is that on the game or is that on you not, or is it like, and it's like, I think you're
used to frivolity with those
Yes.
decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You're used to being able to respec. You're used to being able to, change your mind about a lot of stuff. And so in this game, it sounds like
that is not the case. You kind of have
to
like
old school, like Resident Evil. Like, hey, don't empty your gun into this thing because you need the bullets later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and there's no, Grub was like, I'm sure that there is probably going to be a point where they add like a Blood Moon style, bring all the guys back situation, because it does seem everything needs those resources. Like to do anything, you need those resources. And if the guys don't respawn, then yeah, of course it's a finite economy.
Yeah.
So
I'll have to play it first, but like just a knee-jerk reaction, I hope they don't fix it, because I think that's really interesting.
I hope they don't fix it either.
I hope that's really
they made that,
really
and I'm
interesting
sure
idea.
I'm sure for a while the guys did respawn. And they said, what if they didn't? They made that decision intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I bet it makes the world feel real. I mean, it's like I'm trying to imagine playing fucking Tears of the Kingdom now without a Blood Moon. I understand why that game has it, because it is so vast and you need resources so frequently.
Yeah.
But it would so fundamentally change the vibes of that game in a way that like are kind of exciting when I think about it. Actually feeling like you're ridding the world of evil instead of like, oh, I'm just on this fucking tape deck that's starting over every single day. So it'll be interesting to see how that makes the world feel. I also like this universe that they created, Pillars of Eternity and Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire. A friend at the show, Josh Scheuer, was involved in some of the game direction and writing of those games. Those are more isometric RPGs.
Is he on this one?
He's not. I don't think he might have like consulted on some stuff, but no, the game director is. I just saw an interview with her, and she seems really smart, and I'm embarrassed and ashamed that I didn't remember her name.
It's okay.
But she was
I don't know
fabulous.
anybody's name. Carrie Patel.
That's her. Yes. And she was
She was on Spawn on Me 6 days ago.
yeah, she did a big press tour. She was on MinMax the other day, kind of running down a lot of stuff about the game, and she seems great. Just really passionate and also just smart in terms of building this game out. So she said to Ben Hansen that it was probably the hardest project she's ever been a part of, and but yeah, no, it seems great. So I can't wait to fire it up. I'll probably fire it up right after this show.
Yeah. It also, I need to be so clear. Yesterday, John and I watched that. And maybe this could be our segue. Yeah,
let's
into
segue.
the state of play. Looking at this video game made me happy. It doesn't look like other video games. It looks like they were like, oh, we have the opportunity to use the full fucking color palette to make a fantasy world that seems interesting and new. And like, obviously, like they are going into a well that already exists with Pillars of Eternity, but they are modifying it and making it new.
And it's
here,
and it's going to be an introduction to that world for
for a lot of
the vast majority of people. Yeah.
And I'm sure there are going to be people for whom they will play this game and not know what the fuck Pillars of Eternity is. Like they will walk away from it having understood this as a complete experience, which I think is great. It looks like people made it based on things that they have seen in the real world, with ideas that they have had in the real world, bringing them into this game. Yesterday we watched that state of play from the folks over at Sony PlayStation. And John, I will ask you again for the third time. And if you go 3 for 3, you might win the whole fucking thing. You're going to win the whole fucking thing. I won't say what that thing is, but you'll win it.
Okay. Are you going to ask me the same questions, or are you going to switch it up? Okay. All right. Just ask him. It's fine.
The video game that has Big Ben, but it fell over.
Yeah.
The London Bridge.
That's Tides of Annihilation.
Also. Okay. That is correct.
So we're 1 for 1.
John Warren. Mm-hmm. The game that looked like Marathon with the numbers filed off. Kind of like Ghost Runner, but bad.
Yeah.
What's that one called?
That one's called Metal Eden.
That is correct, John.
Uh-huh.
Congratulations.
Okay.
And finally,
I'm going to win a chip. I feel it.
You're going to win the chip. I really do think you are. The video game from Leslie Bennis, or whatever his name is. What's his name? Beans?
Leslie Benzies, I think.
Benzies. I was close. Director of Grand Theft Auto 5, but you wouldn't fucking know it from the thing where they introduced the game.
First of all, I literally do think, kind of looking into it, that is a trademark issue. I don't think that studio is allowed to say that. I think they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to use someone else's trademark to advertise their own game. I'm pretty sure that's true.
Now, do you think that's a trademark thing for video games specifically? Because like I said on the show yesterday, studios love being like, this guy made this movie. That is not like us.
In my memory, I feel like those instances. Well, first of all, I'm about to talk way out of my ass about this stuff. So like maybe none of this shit is true. But it's like I feel like far fewer movies are trademarked than video games, and I might be wrong.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, okay, like obviously Terminator 2 is one.
Yeah.
But I don't think
trademark cars.
Yeah, no, you can't trademark cars probably. Can you?
I think cars. I think the whole, because then anybody can make cars, Sean.
No. You're correct about okay, wait a second.
Hold on. What I'm doing is I'm clicking on John Lasseter's name.
The little
on
fucking
Wikipedia.
symbol's not on this fucking poster, I'll tell you that.
Okay. I'm just trying to see director.
Let's see. Finding Nemo. Now that one You know what, lawyers, just send the bombs directly to my house. I have no idea what to, I don't know. We had a lawyer on a bonus not long ago. I'm just gonna send her
Yeah.
that. I'm literally gonna send her the question.
Yes. It'd be like,
And
why
I
didn't
will
they
follow
do
it
this?
up. I will follow it up.
I don't disbelieve, but the thing that blew my mind yesterday when they announced
To me, there's
this
no
video
explanation. To me, there's no
Yes.
other explanation.
and for people for whom are not plugged in,
Yes.
you cannot put it not to be, and this is like not a good thing. I don't mean to celebrate this. Video games are not an industry where you know who makes them.
Correct.
You know the studio where they come from sometimes.
Sometimes.
You really know the publisher, but really you don't know the people who are involved with making the video game. So the idea that like they cut this whole fucking trailer for the video game that is called
Mind's Eye.
Good job. For the video game that is called Mind's Eye, and they said from Leslie Benzies.
From Leslie Benzies. As if we know who that is.
Like I knew who it was, but I had to be reminded of who it was.
Right.
That which means that people who are not plugged in like me
Really
have no
idea.
fucking clue. And you posited, I think, a great shout, which is like people were supposed to go Google him.
Right. But
I shouldn't have to do that.
you shouldn't have to do that. And also, it's like, if you're Sony, you want everyone to be locked into this thing until the end. Don't fucking leave to Google who Leslie Benzies is.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd. I think I'm also thinking, like, what if Leslie Benzies has some sort of like existing
That's I think it's more likely
some
yes.
non
I think
disparagement.
it's way more likely that on his way out they were like, you cannot talk about
what you did.
Any of this.
People can look it up, but you can't use.
Yeah, you're done. You cannot refer to your time at Rockstar in a professional capacity.
I think
if you are in the promotion of another video game, like
because
if you go to GDC and make a talk, like whatever. But like if you're making another video game that is in theory competition for us, you cannot talk about the fact that you are single-handedly responsible for Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, fair enough. This thing looks like an open world, futuristic. It looks like a cross between Spec Ops: The Line and
Cyberpunk and GTA.
Yeah,
Yawn.
which, like, it's so funny. And we said this yesterday on the stream, but it's like, wow, I really wish Grand Theft Auto would dial back its irony levels because it's just so fucking awful. But the flip side of, like, what if we made Grand Theft Auto, but it's so just fucking serious? I'm like, oh man,
repulsive to me.
This is tough work. This is tough.
Yeah, I don't. It's not coming out until next year, so
yeah, it's not coming out.
It's
until
fine.
Next year. We saw a lot of games presented yesterday that and this is our takeaway, and we talked about it a lot on the stream. So if you saw the stream, I apologize for regurgitating it. But games like Hell Is Us, games like Tides of Annihilation, and there was
Lost
another one
Soul
in there.
Aside.
Lost Soul Aside. Jesus, what a name. I'm not exaggerating, and this is how I said it yesterday, but it's like that first wholesome direct where they showed no fewer than, I think, 50 video games in the span of about 45 minutes. And so many of them had a color palette or a vibe or a presentation that all felt so similar that it made me question quite loudly, and to the chagrin of some people in our industry, like, who the fuck is going to remember any of this stuff?
Yeah.
And this was the AAA equivalent of that, in the sense that I cannot meaningfully tell you the difference between any of these games because they all look and were presented exactly the same way.
Yes. And they are all, like, even beyond tone setting, visual aesthetic.
Right.
They are all third-person character action games.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, and I said this earlier on Giant Bomb, like, I don't have a problem with this genre. In fact,
No,
I
it's
love
a
a
good one.
third-person character action game.
Yeah.
That's how I started to play video games, was on the back of the third-person character action game. I wish they didn't all look like this.
Right. Yeah.
There is going to be a world where these will come out within a same 6-month window, and you will be on the PlayStation Store watching the trailers and not know which one is which.
Right. Yeah.
Because they all kind of look the same. And I don't know what it, I don't know if it's just like, if it's a situation where in sports you get like, well, the Warriors invented the motion offense, and then kind of afterwards everyone kind of ran motion, and now that's just what basketball
is. Yep.
It's just motion offense. It was innovative and new at the time, and now it is not.
Right.
I don't know if this is that. Like, we kind of had a string of games that kind of look like this, but not all the way, because they were kind of setting the trend.
Right.
And now we are so deep in this generation, all the games just look like this now.
It's odd to me because, like, you know, the giants of the genre, and I'm really using the genre super broadly, so like don't jump down my throat, but like if we start with like Devil May Cry, and then we go to like Bayonetta, and then we also start on a different track with like Dark Souls, like the Bayonettas and the Devil May Cries, they have this kind of like frenetic combo, borderline arcadey design quality to them, of like, you know, just go absolutely fucking berserk and get through this, and it's like great. And Dark Souls is like so considered and weird and inscrutable in a lot of ways, and you have to kind of find your way around. It's much more exploration based. The games that are coming out, like Stellar Blade, and then a lot of the games that we saw yesterday, I don't know where they land, and I think more and more these studios are kind of just being like, well, let's like throw a bunch of spaghetti at the wall from these extremely specifically considered games from the past.
Yes.
And like kind of throw them in a pot and see what works. And to me, it creates a really unmemorable.
Yeah, it's cribbing without consideration.
Yeah,
because you're just looking at the other thing that already exists and being like, I think we can also do that.
Which we've talked about another game previously, a game that like I've kind of bounced off on, but I admire a lot more, which is Eternal Strands, which totally cribs from stuff, but and it is not ashamed about it, but also pieces it together in a way that has an identity that feels a little bit more considered.
Yeah,
where I and again, these could have a really distinct identity. Returnal was a game that if you just glanced at it, the way it was initially presented, you would think, oh, maybe this is the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It ended up being something very different. This kind of weird bullet hell roguelite experience, which we'll also talk about in a second. But like, to me, we're just getting into this territory where it's like, well, is it like Dark Souls? Kind of. It's like Devil May Cry? Kind of. It's like Ninja Gaiden? Kind of. And I don't think anyone's really nailed a good amalgam of those things yet.
Yeah, which is hard. Which is like, obviously that's where the work, right? But that's where the work is,
right?
And like, if you are taking from so many buckets, you don't actually have the time to iterate on those buckets, because at that point you have stretched yourself so thin that by the time you have to make the rest of the video game around it, you don't have time to do anything new.
Right.
That's when you end up being like, okay, well, I guess the setting we have to do is, what if London fell? Oh no, what if there was some sort of like big monster that was like hidden within the earth or came from space that came to come get, wow, fucking nice job, gang. And it's like, like it's completely understandable. Something has to give. You have to lose something. I'm just annoyed at the thing that is getting lost is the part of of video games that I like.
Yes.
Someone in your chat yesterday, John, was like, I'm starting to wonder if I even like video games anymore, which I think was like mostly in jest, but also like I get it. Like I deeply get it, because if you're trying to go back, and I think that's honestly why, and I think it's like, I think this point is two things. One of it is the people who I hang out with professionally are a very specific flavor of white guy. And then there's also this second part. I think that's why people are so fucking head over fucking heels for the Mister and all this emulation shit.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's like they are clamoring for games that are deeply not like the games that are coming out now.
Yes. Yeah.
And the easiest way to access those is to go back 15, 20 years and play old stuff where the ideas, because of the scale of these games is different. There are so many more ideas and so many more varied ideas that, if you want to go back, the entirety of the PlayStation 2 catalog is available to you. Yeah. There are so many fucking different games on the PlayStation 2. And to be clear, there are a lot of games that look the fucking same on the PS2. This is not like a new issue, but there are so many games that do not look like those things on the PlayStation 2 that you can go access that. It's like, go figure out how to get RetroArch running, and then go play any PlayStation 2 game. Go play every GameCube game if you want.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I think it's tough.
There were two games that really stood out to me as being interesting. One was just a game called Darwin's Paradox, which looks like a very cute
it's a
platformer where you play as an octopus and you can kind of do a little crouch thing and become camouflaged like a specific kind of octopus can, and it just looks really cute and interesting. I thought that was great. And then Saros, which is Rahul Kohli. Congratulations on a big starring role in a video game. It is Housemarque's follow-up to Returnal. It is going to be kind of a bullet hell game, but with a progression system that is a little more permanent. So you can start, you can start to like earn resources to permanently build up your character or change runs in specific ways that are permanent. That is frankly the one thing about Eternal that I kind of wanted, and that's kind of why I didn't stick with that for very long. What's very interesting is that a lot of Returnal sickos seem to be a little bit disappointed in that choice, which I kind of
makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. They're gonna take Returnal away as soon as they put this one out.
So. I mean, it does kind of feel goofy to be like, okay, like this team could make literally exactly the same thing, or they could do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really, it's like it makes sense that they would just try something a little bit different. But I
think I rewatched that trailer this morning, and it is actually, and I don't think we appreciated it as much as we should have yesterday, but the fact that it does the reverse shot into his eye. It's the eclipse. It does the reverse shot into his eye, and then the bullets like are circling it. That's fucking funny. That's really good. Like good. The idea that he's like, shit, again, here come the bullets in the bullet hell game. Yeah. And it's like, actually, that's really good. I'm excited. It'll come out 30 years from now.
It's
like that game's out this year, and I think it's probably at the earliest is the end of next year.
I think it'll be probably the end of next year. This is my guess. But that looked good. I just didn't see a lot. I mean, there was Onimusha. There's a Onimusha 2 remake, which looks kind of cool, and they fixed some of the controls because playing that game with tank controls in the year of our Lord 2025 should be illegal. Whatever. The new Onimusha looks kind of cool. They gave the protagonist like a sense of humor, it seems like, which is and when you say a character in a video game's got a sense of humor, that could be a real red flag. But it seems kind of like an actual like kind of funny character vibe.
Yes, like and like an understanding of like physical. There's like physical comedy bits in that trailer or in that gameplay section, which seemed really good.
And the gameplay stuff involved what seems like a bit of environmental like interactivity and almost slapstick. Like these demons are confused if you just throw a blanket on top of them.
Yeah. Great.
That sounds great, and a lot of like kicking tables over into guys. Like there was a lot of stuff in that trailer that I like. again, it's like all of these. It's like, what's the vibe? Is it linear? Is it there's sometimes it's weird. Sometimes I just want a trailer to kind of tell me what the game is.
Yeah.
I don't like. I know it's annoying to just be like, "Hi, this is a game that is linear and it's a cool." It's like I kind of wish we could get there.
Yes,
because I am
I'm
a little bit tired
of
of
a tone piece.
I am too because
I know what the tone is.
I know it.
Yeah, like not to be crazy, but if you can't look, it's a media literacy problem, and I understand it's like it's entirely built into the beats of this. You always start with a tone piece, then you do the gameplay reveal, and then you do the longer preview, and then 2 months before the game comes out, you remind everyone, hey, the game's coming out, we're announcing blah, 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 and then the game comes out. Like, those are the beats.
Right.
If you can't figure out the tone of the video game by watching the video game be played in motion, that's on you.
It's on you. Yep.
And it's 100%. That simple. Like, it just is that simple. It shouldn't. And also, not everyone deserves tone pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Elden Ring deserves tone. They can tone piece until the game came out and show zero gameplay if they wanted to, because they're good at it. But like, I think that there are a lot of studios who are like, well, we got to do the tone piece thing, and it's like, gang, like I know what this video game is already. Yep. You named it Tides of Annihilation. I know what the game is.
What if they got to the end of that trailer and it was like, Bonko's big day?
And like,
that would have been amazing.
That would hit, right? Because if the tone piece was that, and then the game was called Bonko's Big Adventure, then I'm in. Then I'm like, hold on, who's Bonko? When does he show up?
Who did I see was Bonko? Was the lady in the cool dress? Was she Bonko?
That's conversation.
Right.
That's video games to me.
Right.
But then no, you call it the Tides of Annihilation. I know what the game is.
Yeah. It's something strange about like I am just kind of like, okay, is it fucking cut out? Listen, I know that someone I admire is going to get an interview with the director in a month, and I'll kind of understand what the game is. I get that, but sometimes in a trailer, I'm like, just tell me what the fucking game is,
please.
Just tell me what. Like,
you know what it is.
Yeah.
Tell me what it is.
Tell me what it is. Because
I'm not going to remember that it exists until you show me what the video game looks like.
Right. Yep. Anything else from yesterday stand out to you or no?
Not really. A lot of people were talking about that you interact with the world with guns game, and I think I'm kind of okay on it.
Yeah, that was a game from who the fuck was the studio that made it? Was they made
It's okay. God. Don't worry, I got it. Don't worry, I'm scrolling. Oh yeah, Borderlands 4.
Borderlands 4. Yes.
This game is called Dreams of Another, and it's from Pixel Junk.
Pixel Junk, that's right. So everyone's like, "Oh, Pixel Junk, neat." And then actually, what it is a guy in his pajamas with a submachine gun on his back, shoots these little bubble things. It kind of looks like an
it looked like
painting.
Yes.
And you shoot them to not destroy them, but change them. And the language used in the trailer was very strange. It was like, sometimes you got to destroy stuff to make it better. And I'm like, I don't know if this is a message we need for
for right now.
Today, for right now. I mean, in some ways it is, but in some ways it's not. But it looked from a visuals perspective was very striking. I just again, I have no sense of like, is this a pretty small game with a small team? Is this a bigger game? Like, questions I have.
Little, but I don't know.
It seems small to me too.
They're making another Five Nights at Freddy's. Isn't that nuts?
They are making another Five Nights at Freddy's, which is wild. Yeah.
And then Borderlands 4 is coming out this year.
Yes.
So it's going to make $1 billion.
It's going to make a lot of money, and it looks exactly.
2K is going to make so much fucking money this fiscal year.
Yes, they are.
So much money.
Yeah.
Hey, John, you didn't talk about Shinobi.
Yeah, so Shinobi, that's a good point. Good call. Sega's Shinobi kind of reboot is made by the same folks that made Streets of Rage 4. It looks a lot like Streets of Rage 4 from an art perspective. It does look really pretty. And I think they did such a good job with Streets of Rage 4 that that's a day one kind of look for me. And yeah, I think if you like the older Ninja Gaiden games, Shinobi's a little bit different, but if you like the older Ninja Gaiden games and were disappointed that they moved to 3D, even though I think those 3D games are really good, Shinobi might be a good one to pick up because it's going to be cool ninja action, big environments. There was some nice like background parallaxing art in that trailer. Yeah, good looking game. And the folks that made it or making it are I'm a big fan of. So that was also pretty good.
Looks sick.
It does look sick. Let's talk about the Overwatch overhaul for a moment.
Yeah.
So Blizzard invited a bunch of folks in to LA.
Nope.
Some call it
Be right.
Irvine.
Thank you.
Okay.
Listen,
you're right.
One of these places,
you're right.
One of these places was designed for the race war, and the other one is Los Angeles.
You're right. You're totally right. They were invited to Irvine.
Thank you.
To take a look at some major changes coming to Overwatch 2, a game that I had before this week, not played for many, many years. So I had really, really, really not been familiar with what was going on. And we'll take this opportunity to talk about the overhauls, but also picking this game back up again with some of my stray thoughts. The big things are there. Well, actually, three big things. And wow, one of them is really funny. There's going to be a new perk system that will allow you to essentially assign different little changes to your character's loadout. So if you're playing as a defensive, tanky kind of person, you can change one of their abilities to essentially be more offensive. You want a kind of a more balanced situation. It'll make kind of role queuing and some other things probably more interesting if you if you want more balance on your team, if you actually want to double down on some of the things that you feel like your character excels at. That's kind of an interesting move. There's also something called Stadium Mode where they're going to basically lock you into one character and kind of give you a progression system within it. It's very similar to what you would see with something like League of Legends or even Valorant, where they're like you're trying to like kind of boost up your character and loadout as the game progresses. And that seems to be the mode that like a lot of people are really excited about, is kind of being a third pillar. And wow. And then now the return of loot boxes. Legitimately, they're
awesome.
like loot boxes are back.
They were amped about it.
Crazy. Weird.
Yeah.
You and I have not played this game a lot in the past little while. We played it this week.
It's still that.
It's still that, but feels worse because I think the 5-on-5 stuff doesn't feel good.
And in that announcement video, and then I read Ken's piece also.
Yep, I did too.
On Kotaku.com.
Go read his piece.
They have done multiple tests of putting 6v6 back. Yes. And their reasoning for having it not be 6v6 is that it adds a layer of complexity for regular people that is too much. And then this is the conversation that we were having at the top of the show, which is sometimes I think video games need to require your brain to work in order for them to be fun.
Yep.
5v5 Overwatch and I think it is also because I have so much time in Overwatch when it was not 5v5, it does not feel right.
And the argument, like, I have a lot to say about Overwatch, and a lot of it's not very nice. But it's like, to sit there and go, this was the biggest game on the fucking planet for a moment.
Yeah.
Years ago. And for them to say, well, it didn't really work, did it? I'm like... It's guys, no like game. It did fucking work. Like it really did. And then y'all broke it. And you're doing the fucking Tim Robinson hot dog meme of like, we're trying to figure out who did this, who broke Overwatch. Yeah. It's like you did. And What's weird is that the 6v6, at least in this iteration, I'm not sure what they've done in the past, but like what's going on now, or you can go into the 6v6 Classic, you can't play as any of the new characters.
No, yeah, and that is I think what they have landed on
Which
is
is
that they
just
are
like,
going
well,
to do
they're
the
too
Fortnite.
complicated.
Yeah, they're going to do the Fortnite model, which is like sure, but also like the thing about Fortnite is that the main game still feels good to play.
Yes.
It's not like it will never be a situation where you go back to the side stuff and are like, well, this is as good, if not better, than the main game. All the money is going into Battle Royale in Fortnite.
Correct.
You can see it.
Yep.
All this other shit is hokey kind of and put together kind of and unbelievably fun that they're doing it, but very clear that it is not getting the same number of resources that the other. And I think Blizzard is like, well, what if we did kind of give the side stuff some of the similar budget to the main thing, which might work.
Right.
But
they are really trying to figure out which part of this is going to work.
Yes.
And then I imagine that they will then, in a year or whatever, if the thing is still around.
That's the thing. This is the last.
This is
they've done this thing where they fly everybody out and they're like, we fixed Overwatch. We
fixed it. They've done
4
this
times.
Yeah. I love my colleagues in this business. We do not get enough credit. We are so shit upon, and it is really, but whatever. There were like 5 people I respect who are like, I think this could do it. This game is fucking dead, guys. This game is fucking dead. You can't show up at their funeral and be like, I think there's a chance this thing sits up. You fucking can't. I'm sorry. The stuff that they described as the big changes are not going to... Cool, it's more like a MOBA. Who the fuck asked for that? Nobody. Who asked for... Who did it? Because none of us, when everyone on the planet was playing this game 8 years ago, no one was going like, God damn it, I wish this was more like League of Legends.
Yeah, no, the whole point was that it took the parts of League that were accessible and made them differently accessible. Yes. Like it removed them from the inaccessibility of you have to play League of Legends.
Right.
And then it wasn't in League of Legends anymore. That's what made it accessible. The idea now that someone is going to... Overwatch obviously started to fall apart when and it's very clear when the game fell apart.
Yes.
It is when they started actively making decisions in service of esports, as opposed to the human beings that were like the 99.9% of the people who were playing the game to have fun with their friends.
Yes.
They saw all the money that they were getting from Coca-Cola and fucking Cheez-Its, and they were like, well, this is going to go forever. We're never going to not have the Blizzard Arena. We're never not going to sell out Barclays Center to watch DJ Khaled put on the worst performance you've ever seen in your whole life. This is it forever. And then obviously that was not, quote, it forever. So when they started making changes to the game that were in service of a very small group of people to make them happy at the expense of the people who were paying for the video game and that you were not paying to play the video game. That's what it fell apart. So now to be like, well, okay, we lost the regular people, but we can definitely bring them back if people are going to get mad at you for picking the wrong Orisa buff when you hit level 2.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that doesn't fit with our fucking meta at all.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's like, no, I'm just trying to fucking...
I'm having fun.
I'm trying to have fun. But no, but now there are more vectors for you to do it wrong.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Instead of just having like a balanced game where like... Part of it's a rat race of having to keep constantly adding stuff too, because it's
That's it. It doesn't even need to be balanced.
Right.
Overwatch was actually at its most fun when it was fucking broken.
It was a little whack, yeah.
The whole gambit for Overwatch Classic is, God, this game used to be broken. They're right now they're focusing on the Moths meta, which is like a little bit before I gave a shit about what the game was, but Moths is like everybody was flying. It was called Moths because it was like everybody's fucking up in the air, so it's like you really have to have hit scan to be able to take out the enemies that
Yes.
are above you, but you're constantly under fire from players that are above you.
Right.
The meta that was like the next big meta shift after this was goats, which I think is like when this game was at its peak, when it was 2 healers, 2 tanks,
2 DPS.
2 DPS. Yes. Is that right? Whatever. Who cares? It was called goats.
Well, 2 support.
2
two-
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
2 horses, and then 4 goats, and then 6 chickens, and they all get on a boat. And when they come back, only the snake
They're
is
all dead.
alive.
Where was the snake in that first part? Yeah, he
Who
was already on the
knows?
raft, but he just didn't say. Anyway,
When they introduced Brigitte, fundamentally broken character, unbelievably overpowered, could deal too much damage and could heal too much damage.
right.
The game was really fun, though. It was really fun. And then the professional Overwatch League players who had to go up against the worst people on the planet, other professional Overwatch League players, were like, this is not fun. I am not having a good time
It's so fun.
because everybody else is too good. Also at Overwatch.
Right.
So they said, okay, we'll fix it. And then the game stopped being fun, and it was kind of like on a downward trajectory ever since.
It'd be like, can you imagine going to a Cowboys game and then you're there to see the 11 people on the field for the Cowboys versus the 11 people on the field for the Las Vegas Raiders, and then there's a loudspeaker, and the loudspeaker person comes on and says, "We have a special guest in the booth, and it is Jerry Jones's best friend." Jerry Jones's best friend. What do you want to see from this game today? Do you want to see a good game of football? And the guy gets on. He goes, actually, I want to see all 22 of these people drop their pants and have diarrhea on the field at the same time. And then Jerry Jones is like, all right.
All right.
Well, this is what it is now. I know everyone came here to see a football game, but now you're going to see 22 people immediately have diarrhea on the field.
Yeah.
I think you would feel like, okay, well, this game isn't for me anymore.
It's not for me
that
anymore.
one guy
Yes.
who wants to see the diarrhea. And I think, like, if you don't step back, because to me, the crazy thing is in all of this is that I think there's still a dream for them that they're going to get the esports back.
Yes.
That it's going to happen
And
again.
it's going to come back somehow.
Like, I think that's a lot of it, because all they could do is go, let's throw some of this bullshit out and just actually say, I think we were better when we didn't give a shit about this.
Yes.
You would get, I mean, I don't know numbers. You would get a lot of people back if you just started from the foundation of, this used to be great.
Yeah, and we fucked it up so bad.
We can get back there, but we know what we need to do to get back there.
But like, what do you have? I think that's
what
the
do
thing,
you have.
Right?
You go back and rebalance a game for the characters that you have for 6v6, and if there's a character that doesn't work, you fucking lose them.
Yes.
You put them in the vault, the Blizzard vault, and you work on it. You say, listen, we're gonna.
Back.
It's like, why don't we treat this like fighting games, where if between fighting games you're like, oh man, hey, Hachi's not in this one, god damn it, and then Namco goes, just wait 6 months.
Yeah, we'll put him watching.
We'll put him back in, but we wanted to make him feel a little bit different than he used to.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, like, to me, it's like, use those philosophies to like remake the game in a way that feels good. And it feels weird to be like, oh, how do you make a good new game? Go back to the game you made 8 years ago. But it's like, I think there's some truth to that. I think there's some truth to that with Halo too. Like, there's a lot of fundamental Halo stuff that like they just could have focused on.
Yeah, they walked away from.
Mm-hmm. They just lost, and it's just like, again, Overwatch is the biggest fumbled bag in the history of games. You can't convince me otherwise. It's crazy that this has happened. And I do deeply love and respect a lot of the people who went to that event and wrote about it. But the ones who said, I think this could actually turn things around, are, I think, as wrong as anyone's ever been about anything.
Yeah, not in a million years. I just don't
think this is happening.
Which is, I don't know. It would be, you know what it is?
What?
It's like if Epic saw Battle Royale pop off, and then they were like, we're actually not going to spend that much money on Battle Royale like all this money that we're making, we're really gonna just put it right back into save the world.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This is what we got to do. It's the Fortnite at its core is save the world, and it always has been.
Right.
And we really got to double down on this. And it's like, no, gang.
No.
The thing that's printing money for you right now is Battle Royale. Do the thing that is printing money for you actively.
Yeah.
They didn't even have a fucking Netflix show. Do you ever think about how fucking stupid these motherfuckers are?
It's crazy.
They did not have a Netflix show.
That's crazy.
Netflix would have done anything
to
have Tracer on their TV.
Yeah. I don't get it. But
turn it off.
Turn off the game. I mean,
turn off Overwatch.
Turn it off. I don't understand it. I mean, I think a lot of people who have hope for this are going to like are gonna just spend the next 6 months just kind of spinning their wheels, being like, I think this is it. I'm like, I don't think this is gonna save anything for you. Now I haven't got my hands on it. That's a big difference. All those really, really smart, talented people that were invited to Irvine, they did get their hands on it.
No,
but I also think,
agree.
Nikki, I also think they're too close to it. A lot of those people, I know them. You're too close to it.
Yeah,
you're too close to it to know when it's dead. It's just like someone who's sick in your life. You're in denial. They're in bed. They're literally on their deathbed, going like, "This is it. It's time." Yeah. And they're looking around like, "Doctor, isn't it?" It's like he's been blown apart. Like we can't put him back together. Use the last 5 seconds you have. He's the shit's going off. Do you hear the monitors? You tell him that you love him. No. Do something to stop. I'm like, spend the time you have with it and be with it. But it's like it's gone. It's toast.
Yeah.
To me.
Never again.
Anyway, what have you been playing? Anything?
Citizen Sleeper 2 still, which is really good.
Good.
I also fell off of Eternal Strands, and now Avowed is good. So I think I'm probably going to have to circle back to Eternal Strands.
Yeah,
in the summer.
I always feel bad when that happens. It's just like the shuffle. It's like you can actively see 5-6 things start to shift above something. Yeah. Like, okay, well that's gonna have
just
to
tough.
take a. That's have to take
I think I'm probably like at the current rate. I'm assuming I'm not going to be able to hit Eternal Strands until after SGF.
Yeah,
which sucks. Like it's crazy but it's like we're at mid-February now. We are so like it's gonna happen.
It's ramping. Yep.
It's ramping, and then the Switch 2 is coming out,
which is crazy. Yeah.
So like, it's gonna whatever.
I know.
Luckily, that game is not long, so there's
That's
that.
True.
Yeah. What else have I been playing? I played the first World of Super Mario Wonder this week. That game is good.
That game is so good.
And it did remind me the Joy-Con fucking suck, dude. I haven't played a game on the TV with this Joy-Con off of the Switch, and each person is holding the one Joy-Con. Miserable experience.
I have not done that since we were in the ZAM offices on Will.
I hadn't done it in a really long time, and it fucking sucks.
It stinks. Yeah.
Especially to play like Mario Party is fine, whatever. You're not like pressing buttons like that actively, so it's kind of different. But like when you're playing a fucking Mario game, and when you press you want to reliably be able to know that like you're going to be able to press the miserable experience.
They're all so small. I don't know, like babies. That's it. Babies can hold those. And
I saw someone who was like, "Oh, I'm so sad. The fucking Switch controller, the Joy-Cons are going to be bigger," and it's like.
No,
that's good.
Great. That's great.
I don't know what to tell you. Like, and I not even because it's like your hands are small. It's better for your hands. Sure. Most people, including children, have hands that are gonna need to support something bigger than a regular Nintendo Switch Joy-Con.
You're right.
I simply don't know what to tell you. Like that's just how it goes. You can buy smaller ones if you need smaller ones, but the ones that come with it should be appropriately sized for the people using the device.
It would be like me being like, I think every kitchen counter in the world should be like basically where your dick is, like because it's like really, really short.
Yeah,
like I think everyone's like, if they're not like that, then I'm not buying that house. It's like no, like this is a me problem. This is me. I'm like, listen, I'm a big accessibility advocate, but like we have to work the numbers here.
Yes,
like,
and there are and that is not I think people are very quick to take that line of thinking and be like, oh, so you don't think train stations should have elevators?
Right,
It's like,
right. It's
no,
not.
that's not what I'm saying. That's
I didn't say
completely
that.
different.
I said I love waffles. I did not say I hate pancakes.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
it was a miserable experience. I did not have a good time using the Nintendo
yeah,
Switch, but playing the game on the Nintendo Switch, I did have a good time. Have you been
yeah.
playing anything?
I played a game for about an hour and a half today called Reality Break, which was
What's that?
served to me by the Steam algorithm, folks. I think the Steam algorithm's just about the best algorithm you can find.
It might be the only good one.
It might be the only good algorithm. They do serve games, and I'm like, maybe. And then I played it, and it was really good. It is a top-down twin stick action role-playing game. You are a spaceship. You are going through these levels, vampire survivor style, but in a very limited space. They're not infinite. You're basically finding resources and doing little missions. The entire conceit of the game is that not far into it, you basically get an alien life form that, attaches itself to you and is like, by the way, like you can like totally change the molecular structure of a lot of the stuff that you're picking up. Do you want to do that? And it's like, sure.
Yes.
And the game is made by a solo dev here in Dallas, which is very cool.
Great.
Her name is Courtney Leeson. That's it. And she is I watched a little like almost TED Talky thing she did for some sort of like game design symposium or something recently, and she just talked about like the balance between finding ways for the player to feel like they can break the game in really fun ways, and also balancing against that to create the kind of friction that we talk about. If you get overpowered and stay that way, the game's not fun anymore. So how does she fundamentally break stuff so it's really feels like a wild power fantasy while also like curbing some of that a bit, and pushing back with difficulty and things like that. I was mad I had to stop playing it today because I had other stuff to do.
That's a good sign.
So so it's like that's the thing that I definitely want to go back to. It came out 3 days ago.
Huge. What's it called again?
Reality Break. I think it's got not a great title, but it is it's very, very fun. The fact that it's made by a solo dev is just nuts to me. She did take a lot of the assets from like a general asset store and just tweak them, which I think is kind of a cool
they're
idea.
for, though.
That's what they're for. And that's how you are a solo dev. I think like it's so hard to make something by yourself that's totally bespoke. So yeah, really fun so far. That was like one of those fun little gems. I was like, wow, I immediately like this. I have not played this game yet, but I also picked up a game today called Mind Over Magic, which looks like a kind of a city like school builder for magicians, and you also send them out on little quests, and they do like turn-based combat, it looks like, and kind of looks cool. I like the vibe of it. Harry Potter totally killed the uniqueness and funness of like having a magic school. Like I think that's a really great concept, but Harry Potter really fucking killed it for a lot of people. So so I think it's kind of a cool vibe. I've also been playing Tekken Tag Tournament 2 Wii U edition.
Okay, so what is happening there? They just put out Virtual Fighter stuff, and they just put out Tekken 8.
Yeah.
And you said I gotta boot up my real Wii U.
Yeah, my
to
real
play this
Wii
Wii U game.
Yeah, man. You know what else I've never played on my real Wii U is Zombie U. I'm excited to play that at some point.
How are you gonna do that?
What do you mean?
How?
They do some interesting stuff now with the real Wii U.
But where? Where does it go?
They do
on your real Wii U? Is it like a Nintendo DS?
It's a little bit like a Nintendo DS.
Yes. And you just look.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. But here's the thing with Tekken and Tekken Tag Tournament. Tekken Tag Tournament are these kind of side projects. I weirdly think they get to more of the core of what I like about Tekken than mainline Tekken games do. And they're also just like a little bit like Smash Brothers in the sense that they just like there's so many characters in the canon and so many settings and so many songs that I kind of want it all in one place. And the Wii U edition of that game is amazing. It'd been forever since I played it, and I was playing it for a while this week, and I think it's really good. So if you have a Wii U, or if you don't, and there's
Or
a
if
way
you
that,
have if you have a Wii U, or if you have a Wii U,
if you have a, if you have a Wii U, or if you have a Wii U, I think you should check it out. Like it's a really it's good. So yeah, weird. I have not played that much Virtua Fighter again. Revo is still really good, but I've just been dipping
you're a
in other
Tekken
stuff.
boy right now.
I'm a Tekken boy right now. We have God, we've been going on for a long time. We still haven't done the Hive questions. Let's get to
Hive
those.
Queppin.
Hive questions. Oh boy. Ooh. Is there a game that's this is from Papa Bear? Oh, got ahead of myself. If you want to join the Hive, you go to vgbs.com/join. You can ask us a question in the Hive content channel of our Hive category over on our Discord. Every single week we ask for those. We get some really good ones. Papa Bear Zach asks, is there a game that's never been officially released in English that you desperately wish would be Romanized?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Mother 3.
Because this is such an old head problem.
Yeah.
This is not a modern problem.
Video games have always come out in the one I want.
Yeah, which is
like straight
honestly
up
really wild. Like it is funny to be a kid, to remember being a kid and being like reading a game magazine, not knowing for sure if I'd be able to play the thing that they were
crazy.
talking about. I guess Mother 3.
Yeah.
I guess that's about it.
That's and for me that's the only one that I can think of also. That's
Moon was recently.
Yeah, but now you can.
Yeah. So.
The only gap in that I remember was like there was a while before Pokemon was day and date everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So there were at least 4 Pokemon games where I was like, "Fuck Japan." That's crazy. You just get the Pokemon game, and it was like a 2.5 to 3 month gap. But for me, child, I was like, "That's forever. I'll never play it." And then I played it, and it came out. But like that's the closest I got to a game not being like just out when I could play it. And then I like obviously very guaranteed was able to play it. It was fucking Pokemon.
Yeah.
They were gonna put it out.
They're gonna put it out. Yeah. Bone Chug Actual asks a great question. What food flies out of a crate when you smash it? You have to eat it to regain.
It's a
your
really
HP.
good question.
Yeah.
Maybe strawberries.
Just strawberries, just like fresh strawberries. Oh,
that might be good.
Strawberry, fucking hits.
Or like a peach.
Yeah,
like an already like sliced peach. Like I'm not trying to fuck. Like I'm not trying to. Like I want to hit the box and like
sit there,
perfectly sliced
like,
peaches.
The gang members are like surrounding you.
Yeah,
like they've got their knives out. And you're like, "Can I borrow that?"
Yeah,
I'll give it back to you. Like slicing the peach. Yeah. I think mine would be like a pastéis de nata, like a custard tart.
That's good.
It's like,
it's really
Little,
inconvenient.
like, you just,
and
it's
good.
crunchy and sweet. I think it would be good. Jason asks, if you could banish one game mechanic or idea to the Phantom Zone, which would it be?
What if the world was falling apart? I think we're probably good.
I think we're
good. Like for 2 seconds, like literally imagine a better world. Like that's all you got to do is imagine a better world instead of a worse one.
Yeah, no one's asking the author question. No one's asking that. I would say, I would say, any inventory system that does not auto sort to what 99% of people are going to the inventory menu to look for. In terms of like, just like there are a lot of inventory systems that you can sort things relatively quickly, but like a lot of them are actually pretty dumb by default. And I think like more time could be spent into like an inventory system that's a little bit smarter for the player. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I was recently remembering that in Starfield, That game lets you pick up a bunch of dumb bullshit because it's a Bethesda game and they always let you do that. But at least in Skyrim, when you picked up the dumb bullshit, you were incentivized to go sell it somewhere.
Yes.
And then I was like, I don't actually think I sold anything ever in Starfield. Like ever one time.
I don't remember selling
And
anything.
I think games need to be much better at being like, this is garbage.
It's useless. Yeah. Yeah. I love games that, like, when you pick up a thing, it goes, this is good for basically nothing. I'm like, oh, great.
Cool.
Then
thanks.
Begs the question, why can I pick it up in the first place?
Yeah, why can I pick it up?
Yeah. But, you know, usually it's like, oh, you could sell it for like $2. It's like, okay, whatever. Jason asks, I want to start following a basketball team. Which European basketball magicians team should I follow? Listen, that's a very easy question. You should follow the Denver Nuggets because Nikola Jokic is actually the best basketball player on the planet. And he's getting better, which seems unfair.
Dude, he had Jamal Murray scored 55 yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was watching SportsCenter. And like, you know, on SportsCenter after a basketball game, they do score in the top. And then underneath they do win-loss record, and then there's a line, and then underneath they do like the top three players on each team. They had Jamal underneath the Denver Nuggets side, they had Jamal Murray 55 points. They had a different guy who I don't remember. And then Nikola Jokic was the third guy on the list. Motherfucker had a 29-point triple-double.
Triple-double. Hit a ridiculous corner shot that should have never been. No one on earth should have. Not even Luka should have taken that shot, and he did, and he made it.
Unreal.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the Lakers legitimately, but I do not think they are in it for good this year. I do not think they're going. Like, in fact, I actually kind of think they're going to shut Luka down at some point. I don't know why. I think that
we fucking do.
But I do kind of think they will, and so I don't think the Lakers will actually be that fun forever. But they will be really fun next year. So if you want to try to pay attention, you should do that. Oh gosh. Gotta flip it out. Okay. Dan Berlin asks this question. I was talking to a friend about the often discussed defector games, just defector for games, which led us to, what about the ringer for games? Is that even possible? How the hell is the ringer even sustainable? Is the secret ingredient ads for sports betting? I think the actual answer to that question is probably yeah. I mean, they probably have like enough listenership that the ads that they do for sports betting apps are probably pretty good.
Yeah. Should we get into that?
I'm never going to get into it.
No, but what if we like invented DraftKings but for gamers?
DraftKings but for gamers. That's a really interesting idea.
There's something there. I just think that like I'm trying to think of if gambling is bad based on like the things that I've seen on the TV.
And what evidence do you have? You know, it's like it's kind of hard to know.
Seems pretty good.
Everyone seems to really like
Everyone
it.
seems pretty fucking amped about it.
Yeah,
Shaq seems happy when he's on TV talking about it. Kevin Hart seems happy.
All the people on my TV are going like, Prize Picks, doo-doo butter. Here we go.
Yeah,
like,
Drewski's there, and I trust him with money.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, I don't know.
I don't know.
The Ringer, to be very clear, The Ringer didn't used to be this.
No, it didn't.
Like, it didn't used to be this. Like, it used to be actually the kind of legitimately cool.
Oh,
and then they got bought by Spotify, and then Spotify was like, actually, the way we make money is by taking money from DraftKings.
Isn't it fucked up that like Bill Simmons was actually responsible for a thing that was very good?
Two things. He did two things good.
Are you counting Grantland?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Because he's Bill Simmons.
He's Bill Simmons. Like, if you see a clip of, like, I see clips of him on TikTok all the time. I listen to what he says. I'm like, oh man, Bill. Hard to really.
But he did have good media ideas.
He had good media ideas. He was right, like really right about some stuff. So that's interesting. Jason also asks, what's the deal with Ubisoft? Are they still going to be a company in 2 years? Yeah,
Tencent's Ubisoft. Yeah,
they'll just be owned by Tencent, and they're
gonna sell high after Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, they'll sell high after Assassin's Creed. Tencent will make a relatively successful free-to-play mobile Assassin's Creed game. And they will still feel pretty listless, I think.
You think they buy the whole thing, or you think it's like an 80-20?
I think they buy the whole thing.
I also feel like they have to buy the whole thing.
I think they have to buy the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think the Guillemets went out. I think
Which
they won.
fair.
Yeah. I don't know. That could be true or not true. Jason also asks, "What's your favorite smell?"
Barley when she gets hot.
That's your favorite smell.
This is a pretty good one. It's not a good smell.
Listen.
You know,
makes it, you are then clued into how happy Barley is.
Yes.
Because that's true. When the dogs come in and they smell like fucking shit because they've been just baking.
Yeah.
You know how psyched they are, though.
Yeah, amped.
Which
so
is
like
good.
That makes me.
That
happy.
is a good smell. That's a good.
And
smell.
like that, yeah. So that's good. Smell of petrichor outside rain situation. Like it smells fucking awesome outside right now.
Totally.
It has been raining nonstop all day. Like it has fucking been dark all day today.
Weird.
Which is really weird. But it smells nuts outside in a way that's awesome. So those are maybe my top two.
Niki said it earlier. Peach, fresh peach is one of the best smells.
Kind of bangs
in the world. Kind of great. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. All right, one last question. Lucky Hyena asking, as John is now an Arlington expert, should I go to Six Flags?
Yeah.
Generally, you should go to Six Flags. If you have a Six Flags in your area, just go to one sometime. It'll probably be fun. I did look up some stuff at Six Flags over Texas. The bobsled is closed, which was my favorite ride.
Closed and still up, or closed and gone?
Closed and going to be made into a different thing.
Okay.
And deconstructed and made into a different thing.
Okay. The thing, I went to Six Flags last year at the end of the year, September, October. Six Flags is like, and I don't know if they're all like this or if it's just Magic Mountain. Like, I don't know if they don't spend money. Like, I don't know.
Right.
But like that place felt, I didn't feel good there. Like at no point did I feel like it was safe.
I know what you mean.
Like it was so deeply reliant on systems that I now very much am like, those don't exist anymore. Whatever government or like local government, city, federal,
like some
program,
real Final Destination shit's about to happen.
Absolutely. Is like in charge of keep a theme park safe and running.
Right.
Definitely doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So like, I don't know. Six Flags is a weird place to me. It feels like a different time when you walk into a Six Flags.
It does. Do you like Warner Brothers? Then you'll think it's interesting. Six Flags Over Texas is interesting. Most of the rides are named after Batman or Bugs Bunny.
Yes.
The Spinnaker, which killed a kid, no longer there, but they did replace it with something called Catwoman's Whip, which is almost exactly the same thing.
Slightly safer.
The Texas Giant and the Judge Roy Scream are both wooden roller coasters that will, I'm not kidding, probably injure you if you have any sort of like, if you're like of any sort of slight disposition, you will get injured right now.
But if you have a kidney stone,
I will dislodge that.
You should get on it. It'll come right out, right in the Six Flags bathroom.
There are some fun rides at Six Flags. There is some bullshit food you can get at Six Flags. I do not think it is the Six Flags that I went to growing up. I think it is quite different now. And so I think it's definitely worth checking out. I actually hear weirdly good things about Hurricane Harbor, which is the water park across the street. It's been forever since I've been there. Water parks gross me the fuck out. So
they're disgusting.
I think they're really disgusting.
You're right.
But they are building some sort of cool like indoor zone or whatever. It's all disgusting anyway.
Ew, gross! An indoor water park, not in a million
gross.
fucking years.
Just hey, lucky Hyena, if you are in town and you want to go to Six Flags, just DM me, and you and I can go to Cidercade instead. And then you can go to Six Flags at some point. But like I'll go to Cidercade with you, which is like 5 minutes away, and it's a bunch of old arcade machines that are on free play, and they make their own cider, and it's pretty good.
That sounds way better.
It's way better. So I think that's my charge to you. Let's get out of here. This has been a good one.
Wow, they have fucking Fast and Furious race game, but the big one that you sit in the whole car. They got Tetris for arcade.
Cidercade? Yeah.
Skee-ball. They got
and also like
pinball.
they have like Tekken 8 set up there, just like on little PlayStations, which is wild.
Wow, 5-ounce pours for $16. That's
Yeah.
well, that was 3 years ago, so it might be different now.
It might be a little bit different, but
Wow,
Cidercade's good. It's fun. Niki, do you have anything you would like to plug? Like maybe a newsletter that you have?
I'd be having a newsletter. It's called Make You Think. The next issue comes out today if you are listening on public, or tomorrow if you are listening not on the paid
So
feed.
exciting.
MakeYouThink.club. It's a newsletter about being alive in the end times. There's a free tier and a paid tier. The free tier just gets it to you once a week. The paid tier gets it to you thrice a week. I sent out the first paid one yesterday. And I'm excited about it. I'm having a good time thinking about doing the newsletter and yeah, it's I think it's fun. I like a little project for me, and I'm kind of happy about it.
I love it. Yeah. So please go do that. MakeYouThink.club. Sign up for it right now, and I won't have to come to your house and pick up your plants.
Pick up a
in your
plant.
front yard.
Yeah, he'll do it.
I'll do it. I will do it. Things I can plug. Let me see. You can go get a glider, glider.gg. We're speaking at South by Southwest this year, which is wild. So we're getting ready for that.
You're going to South by?
Yes.
You got any free platinum passes lying around for me?
No, but I got one.
What about for me?
I don't know. Maybe you could. If you do you think you could pass as an Australian man in his early 60s?
Could I?
And he's white.
Could I?
Okay, it might work. maybe my co-founder might give you his platinum for like a day. It might work. It might work. Maybe it might work. You know, good day.
Good eye.
But yeah, that'll be interesting. But in the meantime, you can go purchase one. We're gonna be putting some of those together kind of soon, so you'll see. You'll see the progress on that if you follow our socials, Glider GG, most places, and that will be great. Let's see. Gosh, I did not check if I can talk about this other thing that I did the same thing last week.
Yeah.
I still don't know if I can talk about this other thing.
What if you checked right now?
I don't think I can check fast enough right now. That's the only problem. But you can get Interstate 35, which is a game I published over on Steam. It is a really great visual novel, and it's short, so it's a good one, and you should pick it up. And I'm going to do a plug for this very show, VGB's podcast. Folks, Murderer's Row coming up. We've got here. I'm gonna, because I've updated the list since you've even seen it. So we have a Merritt K next week on the 20th. We have a Michael Hyam the week after that on the 27th. We have an Andrea Sheeran on March 5th.
Wow.
We have a Pat Gill on March 13th. We have a Tim Rogers on March 20th. We have a Ben Pack on March 27th. We have a Lotus on 410, and we have a Jess Cogswell on 417.
Wow, everybody's here.
Everybody's here, and it's great. And we're going to have a really good time with some guests because y'all have asked for it, and I hope you like it, because if you don't like it, it's rude to uninvite these people. So it's just going to have to be a thing that you really, really, really love.
Yeah, keep the excitement going.
Just keep the excitement going and like tell us how good everything is, and that would be great. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this week. This has been a fun one. We had a lot to talk about. And we will be back next week, folks. All right. You should probably just, keep on buzzing. Buzz.